Part of this game I got from Dr. John DeMartini. He's got great stuff, highly recommend his stuff. I did his addictions module. I think everyone has addictions. I've got a lot of clients now and I want to be the most effective. So part of that is being able to help people replace their bad habits without shame. Oftentimes shame is temporary. And we need to get the root cause of what those habits are. And the root cause of all addiction is that addiction has more benefits than drawbacks, despite what the person may be saying. If someone's addicted to heroin, the heroin has more benefits than drawbacks. And part of that module for the addictions course with Dr. John DeMartini was listing 125 benefits. And if you're a heroin addict, one of the benefits is you don't have to go through withdrawal. You don't have to handle cravings anymore. You just give into it. Probably don't have a lot going on in your life. Probably one of the only pleasures you have, stopping you from doing other harder, drugs or whatever. But when I started doing benefits, like one thing I still struggle with is cheat meals. I like having something to look forward to at the end of the day. I never miss a workout, but the cheat meals are there. Sometimes the salt and the carbs have affected me more as I get older. You'll see sometimes in the videos, some of the older videos I'm real lean. Some of the middle videos there's some water weight on my face. That's the cheat meal right there, and that has more benefits than drawbacks. So as long as you have more benefits than drawbacks, you're going to be doing that particular addiction. So it's really good to be able to list out those benefits. But I had some major problems with the course material, and it didn't have the full range of what I thought was necessary to get to the solution of the addiction. The other major problem is the payoff's too far into the future. Like if you're coming off heroin or if you're coming off junk food, right? And you're going to be clean for 3 months. You're doing no FAP, you're doing no junk food, you're doing all this stuff. It's like 3 months from now, you're going to be possibly 40% better or whatever. Whereas you just had a hard day at work today, the payoff's far in the future, and you'd rather get a pizza and a beer and help yourself because maybe your girlfriend's busy or you don't have a girlfriend or whatever. Well, there's more benefits than drawbacks from doing that action, so that's what you're going to do. So that was a really interesting piece of game, was that all addiction's logical. Even if somebody hates the addiction, they hate the drawbacks, they just really want the addiction without the drawbacks. And that addiction still has more benefits than drawbacks. So number one, more benefits than drawbacks. Payoff is too far in the future, right? Even if you try and replace the addiction with something similar, you magnify the pleasure. This is a lot of Tony Robbins stuff. It's not enough for a lot of people, and they keep going back. Okay, which brings us to point number 3: failure is not painful enough. Now, this is something Tony Robbins and a lot of these guys will do. They'll do pleasure and pain stacks. So, but the vast majority of people, I haven't seen them be able to adequately add enough pain to the failure. The perfect example would be like if you could implant yourself with a chip that you couldn't turn off, and anytime you had junk food or heroin or whatever your thing was, it would give you like a soul-crushing electric shock every single time. That addiction would be over today, because you just have a few of those. You'd be like Pavlov's dog. You'd be instantly conditioned away from that. You'd be like, whoa, there's way more drawbacks than there are benefits to this. It's just like those after prison channels that you watch on YouTube, or that I watch, the Wes Watson and these guys who've been to Mexican jail, and they were wild dudes when they were younger, and they go to jail for 10 years. They're like, oh, I'm never going back. I'm not even fucking jaywalking anymore, because they tasted so much pain. The pain was so bad, right, that was it. Problem is, the pain of eating a cheat meal is not that bad. And the healthier you are, the easier it is to slip back into it, because the less drawbacks one cheat meal has, or one cheat thing has, and then before you know it, you're back in the slippery slope, because whatever you're addicted to is going to be hard to do in moderation. So for people that are in the throes of the addictions, the failure is not painful enough. Going back to that addiction is not painful enough that particular time. It's not painful enough. And number 4, the pain of failure is not 100% consistent. So you might get a terrible stomachache if you eat pizza, right? But that might only happen 1 out of 50 times. The other of those times you might feel sluggish, you might feel a bit off the next day, but it's not a consistent pain every single time, right? There would be no crime if a criminal knew that 1, every single time he'd get caught, and 2, he'd be in jail for 10 years. The only reason there's crime is because people are addicted to these shortcuts, these financial shortcuts. It's about money, and they think that they can get away with it. It's the same thing with gambling. People wouldn't gamble if they lost every time. If it was a soul-crushing financial loss, and it was every time, right? It's the inconsistency. It's either the pain's not high enough, or the pain can be high, but it's not consistent every single time. If you got food poisoning every time you ate pizza, your junk food addiction would be cured. And there actually are a lot of people who develop like severe IBS, and they are able to heal their guts because they literally can't eat anything that's bad for them, because they will have these terrible reactions. So unfortunately, there is no chip to implant into yourself to give you like a soul-crushing electric shock every single time. Okay, and if you guys know my 4 major human motivators, number 1 is force. 10-year-old can put a gun to your head and tell you what to do, and you will do it. Number 2 is money. Number 3 is shame. Number 4 is love. Okay, love is the one you ideally want to be working on, but it's not as powerful in the short term. So we can't use force, unless you're in some type of a boot camp where people are able to lock you into a room, like a military-style boot camp or a prison. Other than that type of environment, obviously you probably don't want to live in that type of environment for the rest of your life. So what we need to do is we need to amplify the pain with money, and we need an accountability partner to make us consistent on this. And this is something I've implemented with a close friend of mine. I've got 4 things on my list. He's got about the same. The cost per failure for me is $500 per mistake. Okay. So right now I have to eat super clean, pure keto until 6 p.m. Now, it's not like every night I'm eating dirty. Some of those nights I'm eating clean, but it's just, that's the benchmark for where I'm at right now. No mistakes. $500 per mistake if I eat anything. A French fry at lunch, $500. Okay, serious. And so what we did is I amplified the pain. I'm making good money, but $500 is still painful for a French fry. It's a drawback. And the pain's 100% consistent. And it's 100% consistent because I'm not a scumbag. Aaron's not a scumbag. We're honest guys. I know that I have to pay. I'm not going to welch on a bet. And if I was to welch on a bet, I would feel like a scumbag. The guilt and the shame would be worth the $500. It's also something I'm going to be rolling out with a select group of clients who are really motivated. So not only will I have to pay one person, but I'll have to pay multiple people. And because I'm a life coach, I'll have to tell my clients who are paying me good money that I was unaccountable, which is almost worse than paying money. And let me tell you guys, I hate this shit. I hate being accountable. I mean, the reason I started a business was not to be accountable to anyone. Okay? I like people being accountable to me. I like a one-way street. But I realized to take my game to the next level, I need that. Because part of the problem with being totally free when you have your health and you can travel and you have your wealth and you don't have to work and life is going well is people can't really tell you what to do. And the extreme version of that is fucking Kanye, right? Really going off the rails. So you want some accountability. Okay, if you want some extra accountability, find an accountability partner, or you can sign up for my peak performance coaching. And I'll put my foot off in your ass and charge you for the privilege. If you want to set up the separate accountability challenge too, I'll be accountable to you, and we'll charge each other per mistake.